Alex.
Thanks, Ning. So yeah, my name is Alex Lauer. I'm talking about the reality check for R adoption, especially the mid-sized pharma view. I'm starting with a little disclaimer. I'm a biostatistical analyst here at Merck. I'm specializing in the analysis of health-related quality of life and patient-reported outcomes data, and I'm also co-leading our R User Group here at Merck. All views are my own. They do not represent Merck's view on things or any of my former employers. So why is this about mid-sized pharma? R pharma is for everybody, right? Because in mid-sized pharma, we have the feeling, or sometimes tend to have the feeling, to be behind on that curve of R adoption. We see all of that usual suspects in the R adoption series, and we think like, wow, but they have it all. And if you have talked to your manager about R adoption and what you can do to boost R adoption in your company, and he has come back with something like, but Alex, we don't have this many programmers, we don't have this many biostatisticians, and heck, we don't even have a role statistical software engineering, then this talk is for you. So yes, let's start with the biggest thing, validation and testing. Isn't it funny how you can enter a room with people that know as little as possible about R, but they will all know that one thing, is that SAS is validated and R is not. Ugh, right? I'm hearing you. Let's go to validation first. Have you seen the talk by Julian Manitz yesterday about the R Validation Hub? If you have not, then stay tuned. Honestly, you should watch out for that recording to be available. The Validation Hub has put up tremendous efforts to create a framework that allows you to assign a risk score to every single package based on certain quality metrics. These quality metrics are something like, does that package have a maintainer? Or is there sufficient documentation within the package? Is there code coverage? Code coverage, sorry. And all of this is overly simplified, and I highly recommend you check out the activities of the R Validation Hub. The second piece is testing. So why testing? Because just because you swap the programming language within the course of your trial, your outputs and results shouldn't change. That much goes without saying. It shouldn't happen. So the testing framework is really there, and it should be applied on an organizational level. You don't want every biostatistician to find out what they have to do in order to match their results to SAS, which has been the former standard, right? All of these things that the CAMIS project has put together, all of these little comparisons should be communicated on an organizational level. You lose a lot of time if every biostatistician and every programmer in your organization tries to figure this out yourself. So yeah, validation and testing should be there, because if you don't remove that layer of anxiety around R, if you don't provide a secure way of running your analysis, then I'm sorry, but production users will always regress to what's safe, and that will be SAS. We also kind of see a need for an R admin here. So the R Validation Hub, for example, has put up this Shiny app that allows you to calculate the risk scores within that Shiny framework, which is amazing. But it also shows that you need people who have a dedicated view on things. Like, it becomes pretty obvious that there is a need for somebody who knows how to get all of these pieces to work. And this creates a need for an R admin. So the R admin is a person who is in charge of the R infrastructure. They look into questions like, how often does your organization renew their R versions? Probably not every couple of weeks when a new R version pops up on the internet. Probably not every 3 years either. So it's something that makes sense. They also create processes for users to safely but also conveniently access their data in RStudio, or they install much needed packages that were not available before. So the R admin is that central point of contact in case of questions around the R infrastructure. And I highly recommend creating this role as early as possible in your R adoption. Then do create talent synergies. R is quite new to the industry, and SAS has been the standard before. We all know that. So it is pretty natural for the majority of your team to consist of SAS users. So yeah, you will see that a lot of newcomers straight out of university have really good knowledge in R, but The advanced programmers, especially when we're talking about titles and the org chart, they will be still with SAS. So here, the goal is really to enable both generations to find their sweet spots on a project, not only working next to each other, but closely together. Because that SAS veteran will not have a lot of experience with R, but they do know tons about the projects, the clinical workflows, and how to put together a submission. The R newbie won't have this deeply rooted industry experience, but they can come with different kinds of experiences, like how do you create a Shiny application and how do you host it on a server? So the ultimate goal is here to foster that collaboration and create an environment where both sides can learn and grow, as opposed to seeing each other as a threat. Then this is the slide where I obviously would like to talk about how important an R community is. And I think there is no better way to do that than with a reference to Libby Heron, host of the Data Humans podcast. So yeah, thank you, Libby, for sharing your Little Mermaid meme with me from, I think it was your lightning talk at this year's PositConf. Thanks a lot. So please go where the people are and give people a place to go to. And our community is so much more than a series of R-related topics and meetings on your Outlook calendar. Because it is really that forum where people go to, where they hang out with each other, where they exchange ideas, where they enjoy R, where they celebrate R. It is also a great forum to ask questions, to, yeah, just sometimes be silly, but really we're enjoying R here. So this should be an inviting forum for both newcomers as well as our rock stars. And I don't want to lie, the organization of an R user group is not a job you can do during your 5% of your overtime. It does take dedication. But have you seen that AstraZeneca was recently able to host Hadley Wickham on their R community? This is so amazing. And finally, join a working group. Because R is so much bigger than just your organization. Take it one step further. Join a working group and foster that cross-industry collaboration. There is a working group for pretty much everything. And here I'm coming back to the point where your manager might have said to you, Alex, we don't have these many programmers. We don't have that many biostatisticians. Well, the beauty about the working group is that you can plug into the synergy. Because there are people from big pharma, there are people from other mid-sized pharma, from CROs, from biotechs, you name it. And they will all work towards that one goal. So here, you can join this working group, you participate, and you take that knowledge that you gained back to your organization. This is really, I think, the part where mid-sized pharma can get most things done. If you see examples like the MMRM package, which has been developed as a cross-industry collaboration, if you see things like the Shiny submission, the COMIS projects, honestly, just pick something that works for you, that sounds interesting, and join the working group, because this is where you can show your manager that mid-sized pharma is really able to do that, even though we don't have that many programmers. So yeah, two things are required to join a working group. One is, of course, that open source mindset. Step out of your silo and be able to join. Second thing is a little bit of knowledge around GitHub, because this is how working groups organize themselves. Christina Fillmore, Lynn Taylor, Irene Basalio, and myself have recently given a workshop about Git in our studio. So please keep your eyes peeled and watch out for the recording. So yeah, with that, I want to thank you. Thanks for listening to me. Altogether, I would like to, I hope I could make you feel like our adoption is not that rocket science. It also doesn't come as a free lunch, not gonna lie. But it's definitely feasible, and if you steer clear of the aforementioned potholes on your road, I think you should be set up for success.